All right, y'all. Welcome to Street Church. Congregation, come on in. And for first time visitors, welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, y'all. I got a topic for you today. And the topic is about a elementary school in Hayward, California. Okay. The elementary school is called GLASSBROOK Elementary. And 2 years ago, they started a program that was supposed to confront white supremacy in that elementary school. 2 years later, after this program was started, 2 years later, the school, the students in this school are 96% deficient, meaning they're not efficient in math, and 80% of them are deficient, meaning they're not efficient at reading. Let's talk about it. Because this is Street Church and we're going to lay it all out. This is about corrupt leadership, bad leadership. This is bad leadership. This is people with a evil agenda that is now being brought to the light. And this is one of those woke programs that is failing the US. It's failing us. It's failing Americans. Excuse me. And it's also failing citizens coming into this country to get the right education about what it is to be an American and to get a good education when it comes to reading, math, spelling, English, and science, right? And history. They're doing a disservice to the immigrants coming in here legally to get a good education and to get allocated into being productive U.S. citizens. Just terrible. And these type of programs, critical race theory, DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, programs that they're creating. I didn't even know they had programs where they were allowed to come in and teach against white supremacy. Which, listen, if it was a history class, right, something, like something that you can teach as an elective or extracurricular, about white supremacy, because it exists and it has existed in this country, and at one time it was prevalent. But this program, obviously, for them to be so deficient, we talking about 96% deficient in math, right? And 88% deficient in reading in this elementary school, meaning they concentrated for 2 years on this confronting white supremacy program than they did math and reading for 2 years. This program took precedence over math and reading for these children. These are children. It's elementary. Right? I assumed that it would go, most elementaries go up to you have to end up in middle school, junior high, right? So we talking about kindergarten to, I'm assuming, sixth grade. I don't know how California operate, but kindergarten to sixth grade is like elementary in Michigan, where I'm a resident at, and then it's seventh and eighth grade, and then ninth to 12th. grade, and then you go on to college, right? And I think that should be the standard. Like, because when I used to live in Chicago as a child, my elementary would always switch up. It would switch up to being an elementary school that went all the way up to sixth grade, and then for some reason, every few years they would go up to seventh and eighth grade. And so you would be with elementary kids even when you should have been, you was in between. You see what I'm saying? Middle school. So I think seventh and eighth grade is good. I think it's good, seventh and eighth. That's middle right there. Then 9, 10, 11, and 12. You see, and then go on, either go to the military, get you a job, or go to college. One of the three. Or become an entrepreneur. However you do it. Go, get your credit good and become an entrepreneur. You got those four options: military, job, college, or entrepreneurship. Right? Either one of those is good as long as you don't have anything to hold you back from really delving in to those options, you know what I'm saying, and being the most productive you can be. Right? Excuse me. So anyway, yeah, this Glassbrook Elementary have failed these kids for 2 years. They pushed this confronting white supremacy program on these kids rather than pushing them to excel in math and reading. And listen, not only are they 96% deficient in math and then 88% deficient in reading, these Glassbrook elementary students, right? These children who attend Glassbrook Elementary, $250,000, $250,000 was spent on that confronting white supremacy program, right? Now, here is a quote from the founder of the program. The person that is the founder of the program states, "An ideal world is a world free of the U.S. empire." You would spend 2 years and $250,000 on somebody who will make a statement against the United States. Somebody should have reported him for treason. To me, because obviously he was saying the United States is an empire, right? Which means everything from local, state, and federal government is the U.S. empire. Who else could be the U.S. empire? In order to have an empire, you got to have a military, you got to have leadership, you got to have a governing body. So when he said that was treason. So his statement should have got them to not go pick up that program. That program should have been avoided at all costs. But then more of a question is, and you know what? Shout out to Fox News because they broke it. They the ones that broke this news. So shout out to Fox News, the five: Greg Gutfeld, Jesse Waters, Harold Ford Jr., Judge Janine, and Dana Perino. Shout out to y'all for breaking these kind of news to us because this stuff is serious. And man, I'm glad I started watching Fox News. I'm glad I started watching Fox News. And this is in Hayward, California. And listen, when I went to go do my own, just bit of research. I just do a little research, you know what I'm saying, just to get a grasp of it. And I just go in, because the rest of it, I just let the Spirit talk to me. And I let the Spirit talk to you. I don't really try to just, like I've said in previous videos, I don't try to format this in a way where this becomes a formula. I just want to give you what I think the Spirit is just going to allow me to say to you. That's it. And in my heart, I can see something, and it becomes disheartening to me, and that's how I know the Spirit want me to put it out there, right? And I just try to let the Spirit use me. I try not to let this become a fleshly thing. That's why I don't try to formulate it. Anyway, that being said, this is Hayward, California, GLASSBROOK Elementary. Let me tell you something. Look. I'm gonna tell you something. This type of stuff, this type of rhetoric, this type of narrative, this type of language is killing. It is done on purpose to kill minority communities. It's there to divide us away from the people that would be the most willing to help us. And that's middle class America. I don't even say white, because we have so many rich black people. We have so many rich immigrants who live in the suburbs, who live middle class. It's not a white or black thing. It's not a Latino thing, or it's not an Asian thing, right? Middle class is just middle class. It's just a class of people who live in a bracket, in a certain tax bracket, and have a certain amount of influence that people with more power and more influence want to destroy. Because the middle class wants to come down to help us. The middle class are the people who come down out of their churches with free food, charity giveaways, turkey drives, Christmas drives. Those are the people that are really there to help us, like ground zero, the real work of charity. And they do it relentlessly, and they do it without motive. And it helps us from them completely destroying impoverished people in impoverished communities. When these programs that both Republican and Democratic parties set up, and they began to get shaky and wonky and fail, the middle class is there for us. And it be all people. It be people who came up out of poverty and got up to middle class. And they're teaching you this crap so you can tear them down, so that you can be. They trying to use you to do their dirty work, to tear them down, to take them out of politics. Because people who are middle class who become politicians know what it is to be in poverty. So when they get there with some amount of integrity, some amount of honesty, and some amount of transparency. Now, we're not talking about any human being perfect. Listen, I'm going to tell you this like I tell anybody. Stop telling me you can't be perfect. Ain't nobody perfect. I don't care about being perfect, and Jesus Christ don't care about you being perfect neither. But you can live pure. You can live pure. God don't want you perfect. He wants you pure. This is why the Bible always is talking about cleansing and righteousness and honesty and integrity and charity, because those things cleanse you when you do it with the right motives, when you do it out of a pure heart. God wants you to purify your heart. So you got to get all of that hate, envy, and bitterness out of you. And this is what is in these people. These people are bitter. And what they act like is they there to help you, but they bitter about something else. And They create an enemy. And the enemy that the Democrats have created is white supremacy. It's created. I'm not saying that there's not somebody running around here, like there's no more KKK. I'm not saying that. But how much hurt are they doing to the black community? How much hurt, how hurtful are they towards us where we got to teach it to our children that we need to confront it? Confront what? When is the last time you seen some KKK members going down your street, gunning them down, talking about they gonna slide? When have you seen some white supremacists right there in white sheets just running up on black people just for the color of their skin, beating them up or hanging them? Or you understand what I'm saying? Like right now. Like confronting you with white supremacy so bad, you know what I'm saying, that all the other things that's happening to us by people who ain't wearing white sheets is uh more damning, right? More hurtful and harmful to us, where we got to confront white supremacy. You can't name it. They're not in the entertainment business out in the open trying to, what I'm saying, come at you. They're not even undercover. You cannot show me no proof where there's a group of entertainers and go and show me evidence where it leads back to white supremacists, like they belong to the white supremacist organization. And they doing a lot of hurt towards us, to where it's so hurtful that we need to start making this a program for kindergartens. We need to confront white supremacy that young. Not as history, but this was taught above math and reading for 2 years in this school. Do you understand what I'm saying? It wasn't taught in a way where, hey, this is an elective. If y'all want to know about white supremacy, its origins, like history, taught as history. Taught as an example and a lesson, right? Taught with some love, taught with some accountability on both sides, right? And if you're going to teach white supremacy, you need to teach about street gangs in school. Because that would be a good way to if you're going to confront white supremacy, you should be confronting gang affiliation. Street life. Why ain't that taught in school? Why ain't that shunned, looked down on, talked about? Why ain't the Biden administration trying to do more to put out programs about street gangs, and it's bad to join street gangs, or prostitution? Condemning this prostitution that's going on, that is basically legal now. OnlyFans made prostitution legal. So if there's going to be programs, why don't we have programs about stuff that's really presently going on, not the past? Even though, hey, you could teach, in schools, I'm not condemning it being taught as a history lesson, for an example, right? Showing us. And then that way we can, we have some knowledge of what white supremacy is, right? But also there's stuff that's going on. Street gangs, the murder rate, how not having a legal gun and owning firearms legally. Oh, well, this should be taught in school too. Because these things are doing more harm to us presently. This is what's hurting the black community. The possession of illegal firearms and the murders and the gang violence that come with it, the sex that come with it. Why don't you show the dark side of entertainment as an educational program, right? That people can overdose on drugs because they have this stardom and this fame and nobody's accountable for them. So when they become rappers or musicians, they don't fall into the same hell pits that some of these entertainers, rappers, musicians, and athletes fall into. For example, how these athletes, particularly basketball players, end up getting these millions of dollars, but then you see them years later after their career, they homeless, they sickly, they don't have anything left over after all these millions. This excessive spending we do, that should be a class. Excessive spending and how it can cause you to end up back in poverty. Yeah, right, exactly. See, this is street church. We're going to lay it all out here. There's things that's going on. Cyber attacks. Teach these kids about cyber attacks. There's so many things that they could have made as a program that would have been helpful. And they could have taught math and reading with it. You could teach math and reading about balancing the books and no expensive spending or cyber attacks because the computer is an algorithm of numbers. That's all the computer is. When you strip down the design, you get to the math. And so why not show them how to strip down the design and get to the math and show them, hey, but don't use this to hack people. You shouldn't be stealing people's data. Teach them about privacy and piracy. You could have spent 2 years there and their math would have been awesome. Their reading would have been awesome. But the percentage would have been up so high. But no, you're going to do it on white supremacy, confronting white supremacy. Something that right now, presently, is doing no harm to people. In minority communities, in no communities, is white supremacy doing harm. Right now, you show me where it's so bad you have to confront it right now. Even in politics, it don't exist. They just lying. They just creating a narrative, just saying something. MAGA, white supremacy. They trying so best to associate Trump and the Republicans and Christians with white supremacy. And it's just terrible. And I'm glad that this came to light through Fox News so I could say something about it. Because and another thing is when I saw the kids, right? Because I was gonna say this and I got off track. But when I saw the kids, right, pictures of the kids in GLASSBROOK, they mainly look like immigrants. Right? They mainly look. I didn't see. I didn't actually. I didn't. The picture I got on my thumbnail, right, and another picture I saw, it had no black kids. These look like immigrants. They look like they were of Asian descent or uh, Latino. So why would you spend 2 years teaching immigrant kids about white supremacy? I almost want to think that they lying. I don't think the 250. I think that was money laundering. I almost want to say there was a scheme somewhere. There was some people lined their pockets. I almost that's allegedly though. That was not a part of the news report, so I'm saying allegedly on my part. But I almost want to say that was another money laundering, embezzlement type scheme that was done with that $250,000. So again, you take it away instead of giving something that will help the families and the children of these families in Hayward, California at GLASSBROOK Elementary. And so I'm going to leave it there because it really ain't nothing else to say. These programs need to be terminated and some kind of, I don't know, the legal system we have, the federal government needs to get involved in this stuff. They the ones that fund these public schools. And if it was a public school and not a charter school, the federal government needs to get involved and find out what was done with that $250,000. All right? That's how I feel. Anyway, the Department of Justice needs to do an investigation. On that note, listen, this is Street Church. I'm letting the congregation out. God bless.